today's Warzone video, I have the top 7 meta guns you should be using after the Season 5 update. The Season 5 update was actually quite surprising what they buffed and nerfed, so I got some great updated class setups for you guys to enjoy. If you haven't enjoyed today's video, give it a like, subscribe with notifications turned on, and let's hop into this. Do you need an easy way to record your gameplay? Because today's video is sponsored by Outplayed. This is a program that allows you to automatically record your kills, your matches, and so much more. And the cool thing about it is that you can have it selected to do certain things like automatically get your kills while pretty much chopping up all your deaths automatically, so you don't have to do it yourself. And if you'd like to edit stuff yourself, you can use the in-app video editor that's built right in. And they make it super easy with one click of a button to be able to share all your clips to YouTube, Discord, pretty much anything you want to be able to share it to. And not to mention, it doesn't only work for Warzone, it works for 300 plus games in their library. I think this is really cool, so if you guys want to share some of your awesome clips, make sure you hit that link in the description below. And thank you to Outplayed for sponsoring today's video. All right, so for the first gun we're going to be taking a look at here today is going to be the Grau 5.56. This got a pretty sizable buff here within the Season 5 update. So I'm pretty excited about that, but let's give you guys a setup you guys can dominate Warzone with. So first thing about this category, we're going to go for the mono suppressor, sound suppression, and of course damage range. The barrel section, what we're going to do is we're going to go through on the Tempest 26.4 Archangel, damage range, bullet velocity, and recoil control. You guys 100% got to be using this thing. There's no reason to use anything else in here. Doesn't matter if you're going for an iron sight build, if you're going for a longer range build than that. The iron sights on this are absolutely incredible in Archangel, and it just also makes it the best AR can possibly be while using the Tempest barrel. So always got to go for this no matter what. Now in the underbarrel section, we're gonna go for the commando foregrip here for recoil stabilization and aiming stability. Gotta love that. I mean, this is just pretty much perfect for this gun. There's no reason to use anything else. It does not require any more stabilization for recoil than this. Now next, we're gonna go for a laser because we're gonna make use of those great iron sights, and we're actually gonna throw on the tack laser here for ADS speed, aiming stability, aim walking steadiness. This is gonna make this thing an absolute laser beam, so you guys are gonna really enjoy using this with the iron sights. I mean, it's not gonna move at all. Doesn't matter if you're on console, if you're on PC, like this genuinely will not move, so it's pretty awesome that way. Now for our last attachment, gotta go for a magazine, and I'm gonna go for the 60-round mag. I'm a 60-round mag kind of guy, you know what I'm saying? So I'm going to go for that 60. And also, I mean, I just enjoy having a larger, magazine account in, my ARs. Minus the kilo, I'm not going to go for that 100-round drum. But also, for these guns, I'm going to go for, a 60, a 50, something like that. Whatever the max is. Normally speaking, I'm going to go for that. But this is my full build here for the Grau. I'm pretty happy got a buff. I'm excited to be able to use the Grau once again. And hope you enjoy this build. Next up, something that actually kind of caught me off guard is that they buffed the Fennec quite a bit. So it seems like they're kind of buffing some of these modern warfare weapons here kind of back into like meta placement. The Fennec was always really good, but it did get a buff, which is going to make it that much better. So I'm pretty happy about that. So what we're actually going to do here is we're going to skip the muzzle, go straight to the barrel, and we're going to use the ZLR-18 Deadfall, which is your integral suppressor barrel. So, damage range, recoil control, bullet velocity, sound suppression, all that good stuff. We're going to go ahead and throw on the Deadfall barrel, as this is going to be absolutely incredible here for this gun. And I really love getting kind of like a nice little 2-for-1 deal here on a barrel and a silencer all in one. After that, we're going to skip the underbarrel, go straight for that magazine. We're going to go through on the 40-round drum mag. You pretty much got to max out the ammo capacity on this thing just because, it's got a really high fire rate. And if you don't do that, like 20 rounds is not really acceptable in a gun, or even 30 for an SMG. So you got to go for like the maximum ammo on this thing. That's a 40. So after that, rear grip section here, we're going to go for the stipple grip tape, ADS speed, and sprint to fire speed. This will negatively impact your aiming stability ever so slightly, but don't really worry too much about that. It's not going to make that big of a difference. And then in the stock section, we're actually going to go through on the no stock attachment for movement speed and ADS speed. Got to be able to kind of compete here with some of these Vanguard, Cold War SMGs. So the no stock is always going to be real good, so we got to throw that on there. And then for our last thing, we're going to go for a perk, and that's going to be Sleight of Hand. So the reload speed on this thing is actually quite chalked, like it's pretty bad. So we got to be able to combat that, and Sleight of Hand's really going to speed this up like exponentially, and I definitely think this is a really good attachment. So this is my full build here for the Fennec. Hope y'all enjoyed this one. I really am happy they're buffing some of these MW weapons once again. Next up, on you guys build here for the Marco 5. So the Marco did receive a tad bit of nerf here within the update, but it's still pretty much gonna be one of the best SMGs in the game from all my friends that have gone on and used it. We've all got the same general consensus that the Marco 5 is absolutely incredible still. So let's give you guys an updated build here for this gun. Most of the category, we're gonna go use the recoil booster here for that overall increase in fire rate. Now in the barrel section, we're going to go use the Emirado 342mm 04P barrel. This is going to make this thing a laser beam, pretty much have like 0 recoil, so it's going to be a lot of fun to be able to use this thing. In the underbarrel section, you go for the Mark VI skeletal ADS speed and movement speed. Of course, it's real solid underbarrel, and it's got, a con of hipfire accuracy, but you pretty much never hipfire with the Marco 5. Now the magazine, we're going to go for the Nambu 64 round mag, hipfire accuracy, recoil control, and that increase in magazine ammo capacity. Gotta love this. The Nambu is just really awesome, so I pretty much recommend for you guys to run this exclusively on this gun. Ammunition, we're going to go for lengthen for the overall increase in bullet velocity. And then the rear grip section here, we're going to do is we're going to throw on the taped grip here. This is like your maximum movement speed style grip. It's also got no cons here, so you really can't go wrong with this thing. Now in the optic section, we're going to go do is throw on the slate reflector here. You guys could also, if you really wanted to, throw on like the NIDAR model 47, but pretty much between the slate and the NIDAR, it just kind of comes down to personal preference. My preference is a slate reflector, pretty much just 10 times out of 10. Now in the stock section, I'm going to go for the Amaretto FR for the initial firing recoil, recoil recovery, ADS speed, and movement speed. I really like the ADS speed and movement speed, but of course your recoil stuff is always good. Now in perk 1, we're actually going to go through on Frenzy for health regen after kills. I think it's a real solid perk to have, especially when playing trios and quads, getting a little bit of health regen after kills. And also you have 64 rounds in your magazine, so you're going to be able to take out multiple people here and pretty much win a lot of gunfights that maybe you wouldn't otherwise win. Now in perk 2, we're going to go through on quick for that overall increase in sprint speed. And this is my full build here for the Mark 05 after the update, so hope you all enjoy that one. Definitely still be using this thing here in Warzone. So now you're going to be moving on to the Vargo 52. So this is not the, not to be confused with the new Vargo. This is the Vargo 52 from Cold War, the assault rifle version of the Vargo. This gun right here is actually got in a buff, and it's a really solid AR even before the buff, but definitely even more so afterwards. So let's give you guys a build that's going to help you dominate Warzone. So first thing, muzzle, got to go for that Grau suppressor, sound suppression, vertical recoil control, bullet velocity, and effective damage range. Overall, the Grau suppressor, the agency for the Cold War guns, is ultimately going to be the best what you got to use. You shouldn't be using anything else like a regular suppressor. The regular is just not that great. It kind of like pretty much eliminated out of meta contention as an attachment after a couple of nerfs. So just we always stick for the Grau or the agency. Now in the barrel section, we're going to go for the 18.6 task force, bullet velocity, horizontal recoil control, effective damage range, and vertical recoil control. Overall fantastic barrel. Don't really pay attention to those cons because this makes this as effective as it can be at being an AR. Now in the underbarrel section, we got to throw on the Spetsnaz grip here for horizontal and vertical recoil control. Obviously, we're gonna help stabilize this gun out, so we also have like 10 attachments that are gonna be good for like recoil control and stuff like that, like we have some for some of the Vanguard weapons. So pretty much you got a foregrip, and that's really about it. Now in the magazine section, we're gonna go through on the Spetsnaz 60. I think the Spetsnaz 60 is fantastic. Increase in ammo capacity. It's just a 60 round mag, and you guys know the drill. I'm a 60 round mag kind of guy, so I'm gonna go for that 60. And then in for our last attachment in the optic section, we're gonna throw on the Axle Arms 3 times. This is pretty much like the only optic I ever recommend on these Cold War ARs, minus like if you're trying to make like a hybrid AR SMG EM2 or something like that. But pretty much the Axle Arms is the way to go. So this is my full build here for the Vargo 52. Definitely try this gun out. It's going to be a top tier meta AR. All right, this is going to be a gun that I was not expecting here to make a video on, and that's going to be the P90. This got a pretty sizable buff here within the update, and it's going to help it make it a lot more effective in Warzone. So let's give you guys a good build for it. Muzzle category, we're going to go for the mono suppressor here. Like I said earlier, we run the mono on pretty much all of our guns, so no reason to run anything else but the mono on these mono warfare guns. In the barrel section, we're going to go for the Forge Tack Retribution here for damage range, bullet velocity, and recoil control. Always got to go for that Forge Tack. There's no real reason for you guys if you're running the FSS 10.6 Pro. This also helps out with your recoil control. You get a bit more of those cons, but to be honest with you guys, they're well worth it in terms of making this gun as effective as it can possibly be. It also, I think, looks a little bit cooler here with the Forge Tack Retribution barrel as opposed to just regular 10.6. So after that laser section, we're going to go for the 5MW laser here for hip fire accuracy and sprint to fire speed. Just got to be able to make sure this thing is super agile, super mobile, and to be able to keep up with some of these other guns in the game, Cold War, Vanguard, SMGs, you know what I'm saying? So 5MW laser is the way to go. Skip the underbarrel section, going straight for that rear grip here. Pretty much we have like almost like 2 grips. It's like you have the same grips up front as you do in the rear grip section, but they just do different things. So we pretty much skip the underbarrel is what it would be for everything else, but we skip the underbarrel on this gun and go straight for the rear grip here, and we go for that stipple grip tape for ADS speed and sprint to fire speed. I really like this thing, and this is going to help you guys out quite significantly. In the stock section, and to finish off this build here, we're going to go for the fly strap stock for that sprint to fire and aim walking movement speed. It's going to help you really just be able to bring up your gun super fast and strafe around, which is definitely a really good thing. So this is an absolute banger build here on the P90. Can't wait to be able to use this thing more in game. It's really solid. Hope you guys enjoy this. All right, next up, we got to give you guys a build here for the Modern Warfare M4A1. If we threw the Grau in here, you know, I know the Grau got a buff. This thing technically didn't get touched here within the most recent update, but pretty much how everything got buffed and nerfed, this is going to fall a lot more into meta contention. So I want to give you guys a build for the Modern Warfare M4A1. So first thing, muzzle, we're going to go for the mono suppressor. Of course, you guys know what it does. Barrel section, we're going to go for the stock M16 Grenadier barrel, damage range, recoil control, and of course bullet velocity. We always got to go for the Grenadier over something like the Corvus Custom Marksman. If you're playing something like Rebirth Island, which you know isn't in the game right now, you guys should probably be able to get away with using the Corvus Custom, or if you're trying to make it more of a closer range build. But if you're trying to use this for like an actual AR purpose, definitely just go for the stock M16 and call it a day. Now, the underbarrel section, we're going to go for the commando foregrip here. You don't need to stabilize this thing out too much. If you feel like it has a little bit too much recoil for you, go throw on something like the Ranger foregrip, and that'll pretty much stabilize out everything else for you. But you will start having some cons in terms of your ADS speed and aim blocking, movement speed, all that stuff. So it will slow you down more, but it will stabilize the gun out. It's kind of like, you know, your trade-off. In the magazine section, we're going to go for the 60-round mag here. Of course, I ain't going to explain that one, but we're just going to go for the 60. Also, stay away from these. I know some people like to make an SMG M4. It's kind of fun to be able to do, but it's not necessarily viable or really all that great. I mean, it's just kind of like a fun little gimmicky type build to be able to make. So if you're trying to actually go for like meta and true good stuff, like to be able to use 50 or 60, but for my preference, 60. Now, to finish off this build, we're gonna go for an optic, and we're either throwing the Corp Combat Hollow if you want to go for a more of a medium range build. But if you want to go for a bit of a longer range build, go for the VLK 3x optic, and that's going to be a fantastic addition. Also, because it's Modern Warfare gun, we have the option to use the PBX Hollow 7 sight, which is also a really fun option. It just looks like a better version of the Corp Combat Hollow. Not necessarily statistically, but it just actually looks a little bit cooler in my opinion. So up to you guys, but the VLK is going to be great, and this is going to be a solid medium to longer-ish range AR in the game right now. So hope you guys enjoy this build. I'm pretty hyped that the Modern Warfare M4A1 is going to be really usable. To finish off this video here, I'm going to give you guys a build for the Vanguard PPSH. This thing got a buff, which I'm pretty happy about. I just made a Vanguard PPSH hipfire build, and this thing is actually going to be that much better now after the update, so I got to show you guys this build. So first thing, muzzle category, and I obviously got to go for that recoil booster here for the increase in fire rate. Barrel section, we're gonna go for the Corvus Kaya, however you pronounce that, the 230mm BO3P barrel. This could be the best one out there in terms of, like, you know, hipfire ability, so definitely got to go for this one. I mean, it's got all that good stuff in there, so always use this for hipfire. In the underbarrel section, gonna go for that Carver foregrip for vertical recoil control and hipfire accuracy. Now, in the magazine section, we're gonna go for the 8mm Nambu 71 round drum. They actually took off, like, whatever, there was a con in here, I think it was a damage range or something like that, and they actually did take off the specific con of the Nambu 71 round mag here that actually helps it out in terms of getting your bullets to do a little bit more damage a few extra meters away, which can definitely be a big difference. So always go ahead and run this thing here anyways. Now, the ammunition side of things, we're either going to run Franch Bolt for that inflict and that wounding effect, or we're going to throw on lengthens here. I definitely say that's going to be solid. Also, you could definitely try Hollow Point here for limb damage, just because you're going to be hip firing quite a bit. So Hollow Point, Franch Bolt, you can try those out, but lengthens always just like a real tried and true safe alternative if you want to go for something like that. Now, in the rear grip section here, we're going to go ahead and find the Pine Tar grip for recoil control and hipfire accuracy. Gonna help you out here in terms of obviously your hipfire, but it's if you have to ADS here, because you're gonna be ADSing every now and again, this is gonna help out with that recoil control. So definitely we're gonna enjoy this one. In the optic section, what we're gonna do is we're gonna go down here and we're gonna go find the iron sights here. Pretty much either of these iron sights, either the iron sights are gonna be great. I had someone ask me about using a scope on here just because it's like, well, if it helps increase your accuracy, it's like, okay, well, maybe it slightly increases your accuracy, but I mean, you can't really use a 2.5 times scope or a 3 times scope at close range, so there's no real point. I mean, that entirely eliminates your ability to be able to do that, and it really does not do that much of a difference. Like, just throwing some iron sights so you can actually use this thing in its designated range, which is like super close. So that's why we're gonna go through these on. Now, in the stock section here, we're gonna go through on the remove stock for hipfire, accuracy, movement speed, and sprint to fire speed. Gotta love this thing. And then in perk 1, we're definitely gonna go for tight grip here for accuracy and recoil during sustained fire. This is gonna be pretty solid. And then of course in perk 2, we're gonna go for quick for that overall increase in sprint speed. This is my full build here for the hipfire PPSH. Hope you guys enjoyed today's video. If you guys did, give it a like, subscribe, so notifications turned on, and I'll see you all later. Just remember, don't triple cap, don't be Randy, and I'm out. Peace.